Hello and good afternoon. My name is Martin Cowart, and welcome to Noonday Meditation and Contemplative Prayer Power Hour, where we have been gathering in this online sanctuary to love and support each other through this pandemic. And boy, have we been through a lot together, and I'm so glad to have you here to join me today. I'm going to do something a little interesting today. I'm going to do a little teaching on the science behind contemplative prayer. For those of us, for many of you, me included in one time, who really doubted the power of prayer. And so I want to talk a little bit about, I'm going to take you through a slide for show in a second. But people often say, well, how does prayer work? Does it really work? And there's a lot of science behind the process of prayer. There's a lot of science behind what we call higher levels of consciousness. So I would start with saying that prayer works if you're doing it properly. It depends on from which place you're praying. If you're praying from your ego to get something that it wants, probably not going to get it. That's not how it works. Prayer is an act of surrendering. It's a letting go of what the ego thinks it needs to open the heart to what it already has, which is the solution to the problem. So, people misunderstood. Einstein was known as probably one of the brightest geniuses in the world ever in modern history. And he was not an atheist, although people think he was. He was not. He was a person that believed in sort of the harmony of all things. There was a universal energy. And for him, it was a study of energy. And there are various forms of energy vibrating at various frequencies. And depending on the higher the frequency, the higher the vibrational frequency, the higher the power, and the more creative change, the more that we could transform, the more we could change in the world, the more we could create. The world is created by this high-powered energy, which is what Einstein talked about. So he also said you cannot solve a problem. Let's see who's here today. Hey, Audrey, how are you doing? I hope I don't get you too bogged down. So it was such a joy having you on with me on Friday. I have gotten so many nice comments about what a fun duo we were. So I hope you'll come back and visit me again, because I truly enjoyed your wisdom and your love and your inspiration. You're truly a gifted, beautiful woman with so much to bring to the world, and I appreciate you so much. So thank you for being with me on Friday. And again, thank you for being with me today. And also, let me just say this, that if you're joining us today, please put your name and make comments. This is going to be a learning session today. I want you to learn the science behind what we do when we go into prayer. Because there's a lot of us that just doubt it. And I was just speaking a second ago about Einstein being one of the geniuses. Well, he tapped into this subject that we're going to talk about. And he's known for making the statement, you can't solve a problem with the same thinking what do you mean by that? That the same thinking that created the problem. How many different kinds of thinking is there, Well, there's two, basically. There's the binary egoic brain, which we all have, which is very limited. It's kind of like it's a brilliant piece of software, let me ask you this, but it only knows what it's been taught. It doesn't have any creative capacity. It learns very quickly, but it doesn't know anything it hasn't already been taught. So it often goes back and looks at painful experiences and projects those into the future. So it's actually our egoic brains are actually the problem creators. That's their job, is to create problems for us. Every problem is created by our human mind, by the way. Don't go too far down there. Just trust me on that for right now. So you can't solve the problem with the same human binary brain that created the problem. I like to say you cannot solve a problem. Trying to solve a financial problem with the ego thinking mind is like trying to play a violin with a chainsaw. It is not that the chainsaw is bad, but it was designed to cut and separate. It was not designed to play music. So if you need to play music, you need to go to a different instrument. And that's the same way with solving financial problems or any kind of problem, is we need to move into a higher, more efficient operating system that exists within us. One of the names I call that operating system is infinite intelligence, after Napoleon Hill's famous book, Think and Grow Rich. And that's what I teach a lot in my prosperity coaching, is how do we tap into that infinite intelligence? We do it through contemplative prayer. And there's a whole lot of science behind the various stages and the various levels of human consciousness. And that's what we're going to talk about here in a minute. Dr. Hawkins spent his entire life doing research on energy vibration at various levels of consciousness. And he wrote a wonderful book called Power versus Force. So if you want, and it's very detailed, so if you want to go into the details of it, you can. But I'm going to make it easy for you, because I've got an illustration here, a slide illustration that will take you through his many years of research in a very simple, easy to understand picture. And actually, I'm using this picture, this illustration, this slide point presentation, with the permission of Steve D'Annunzio and my coach, Steve D'Annunzio, and the Soul Purpose Institute. So I'm using it with permission because it just so simply and easily helps us understand the science behind all that we do as contemplatives. Because I say prayer, contemplative prayer, is how we create. That's how we create everything. That's how we solve problems. It's how we get into our power. And it's all proven. I mean, they've got tons of empirical evidence that we are energy. We're all just energy moving at various. We're all just light energy moving at various vibrations. Lower vibration, the more dense; the higher vibration, the more creative. Okay. So again, if you're visiting me today, or you're in the replay, please type in some comments. And either if you're watching the replay, I want to encourage you to put in your questions, put in your comments, because I'll come back later, because I know more people seem to watch my replays than actually come live, because I'm in every day at noon. It doesn't work with your schedule, which is fine. The main thing I want to help you understand how contemplative prayer can be the most effective tool in your toolbox, by the way, for solving problems. Okay. So that's what I'm here for. We're here to solve the problem of the pandemic, to solve the problem with all that we're going on in our lives. And we're here to use the power within ourselves, that higher level of consciousness, which we can call unconditional love if you want to. That's what I'd call it. It's a path. This is a path to enlightenment, actually. And it helps the binary brain to begin to understand the truth of what's really happening. Because, back in the day when Jesus was around, they called everything spirit, because they could see things, they could see leaves moving, they could see things happening, energy happening, but they couldn't see it, so they called it spirit, because like the wind. Today's time, we've got enough scientific tools and stuff. We call it energy. Spirituality, it's all the same study of the same thing. It's all a study of energy. That's what it is. The science is the study of energy. And I'm going to show you now how that same applicable science applies to something like contemplative prayer as a means, as a way to solve problems. Okay? Let's get started. This will be kind of fun today. So let me get some things out of the way here. Let's hide that. And let's hide this. Hold on. Let me hide this banner right here. Don't need any banners in the way. And again, if you would like, just please say hello in the chat box and ask me any questions. So we have three realms of human consciousness. We have the physical realm, we have a mental realm, and we have a spiritual realm. That's the whole human being. A lot of people don't even know they have a spiritual realm. We discovered so they discover it. I'll say some of my comments about what's going on in our political system. To me, it's not about bad people. It's about people who aren't awake to a spiritual higher level part of themselves. It's just they're living in shadow, living in darkness. So the truth of it, they kind of completely cut this part out of their lives because they don't understand, they don't see it, they can't touch it, can't feel it, so they don't believe it. It's not my problem because they don't. It's their problem. They want to solve their problems, and they'll tap into, they'll listen to what I got to say, and they'll tap into it. So those are the three realms of human consciousness. What we're going to do today is we're going to look at what's called the stairway of selves. And by using we can shift our power by 10 times, simply going from fear to love. When we live in fear, it shuts down a certain part, the more creative part of our genius. So when we're fear of losing our power, if we've been the majority leader at holding power in the Senate for a long time, don't think that man's not feeling some fear right now, because he's lost his footing in the world, and he's afraid. So these people are making decisions not out of because they're bad. They're doing because they're in so much fear that it's completely blocking them from seeing the truth, because they're in so much fear. That's what it is. So if we go from fear to love, everything shifts. We get a 10 times increase in our ability to solve problems, to create, to be our most creative selves. Okay, so I'm going to take us through all of these various levels of consciousness today, slowly and easily. But I want to point out a few things before we do. I rarely see the world the way it is. I see the world the way I am. And what that means is this: if I am feeling like a victim, if I'm feeling like someone stole my position and I feel like a victim, I'm operating down here in this deep, deep level of fear and anger and punishing and wanting and frightening and blaming. This is a layer. This is called fear. This is falsehood. This is not true. But our minds, our ego thinking minds, our lower level binary operating system doesn't understand this higher realm of truth, because it just doesn't, it's beyond its understanding. You hear the same peace beyond my understanding. It's because it's beyond the understanding of the human. Here we are living in chaos, but I'm living in peace. It's beyond the understanding of the human mind to have all this chaos going on around us, but still I'm living in peace. See? So when what you got, I'm going to just show the overall chart, and then I'm going to take you through it. So what we've got here is these are the 12 steps to enlightenment. Over here is what's called the joy level. Over here is where our power. This is how we view the world, and this is the life result. This is how we're living as a result of these various levels of consciousness. Are you beginning to understand why this is so important to understand? You know, we've all experienced these things on some level, I'm certain, unless you haven't ever experienced anything up here. And I think there's some people who probably haven't in the world today. That's because they haven't woken up. They're not enlightened. That's all enlightenment means, is that you realize that there's this other realm up here. That's all enlightenment means. People think enlightenment when you got to go off in the woods and sit on a mountain somewhere, and all of a sudden you're going to see something. All enlightenment means is that you've gone from falsehood to truth. That's it. You come to realization and you've been enlightened. There's a deeper truth. There's a spiritual component of you that's much more powerful than what I can see, what you can physically touch, see, and experience. So this is the path to that. And what we do here every day in contemplative prayer in our power hour is we do that. When we say let go, we're surrendering this down here, this fear and falsehood and belief system, to an I don't know deeper level of truth that exists up here. And we begin to feel a certain sense of peace and a certain sense of power. There's a real inner power that comes with that peace when it's really done, when you step through the fear You can't kind of especially bypass it. You can't just when you feel anger. You can't just pretend like I don't feel anger and immediately jump up to the top. You got to feel the anger, experience the anger, inquire the anger, find out what the anger is trying to tell you so that you can transcend it and incorporate it into your lower level of consciousness. As Ken Wilber, who also teaches the same stuff, he will say to you that we have to transcend and include. As we move up these different ladders or these different stairways to higher levels of consciousness, we transcend and include. We transcend and include our fear and our anger and our entitlement. And it takes, notice the one thing it takes to get up there. It takes courage. It takes courage to cross this line. But look, there's that 10 times more power. You go from 1,000 watts of power feeling enslaved and controlling to 10,000 watts of power feeling positive, empowered. That's why we do this. We experience empowerment. And we have the power to solve problems. All this is really wonderfully detailed, by the way. If you really want to get into the nuts and bolts of it, go back and read Dr. Hawkins' book, Power versus Force, and he explains all this in infinite detail as how he came up with this. Or you can just watch my explanation of it, and it makes it's a lot simpler. You know, I'm trying to dummy it down as much as I can. I think this does a good job so that you can actually put it into practice, so you can begin to use it as a tool to solve your problems, especially financial problems. So let's look at these various levels and see what they mean. So let's look at the first level. We've all been the victim of something. And it feels bad. We feel miserable. Someone's taking advantage of us. Someone has hurt us. We just feel powerless. And sometimes, someone who's been, as a child, has been sexually molested, or an adult. It's power. They're truly a victim of something. So it takes a long time to get beyond that victim, that fear that's going to happen again. So this is why it's not like we need this to protect ourselves. So it's not like it's bad. It's just this is, but that's not all there is. Okay. Then we go from fear. Then we begin to say, oh my God, this was frightening, and I'm going to fight my way out of this. But the thing we're talking about here is not real danger. I mean, if somebody's got a gun to your head and they're trying to hurt you, that's one story. But you see, the human brain cannot differentiate between an illusion of fear or real fear. So we're talking largely today about this illusion of fear, this illusion of something. We're not talking about the situation where we're actually in physical danger or harm. But the brain can't tell the difference, okay? So we move up and we're still in a very low level. This is a very animal place we live. And it's part of our human condition. Let's move right along here. And then we got up to desire and then to anger. Anger, actually, if it's channeled properly, is a very good tool, because it's the anger about what happened that wants us to move up into the mental realm to try to resolve it. And we go into what's called, because I'm a human being, this is where we often get these next two ones where so many of us get stuck. I'm going to go ahead and show them both. With pride and entitlement, we run into some real danger as human beings. I mean, look what we've done to the planet. We think we're entitled because we can destroy the planet. We think we're entitled to do it. We think we have a superior position over human nature. Well, I think we're learning quickly that we don't with COVID-19. But the human brain thinks it needs to live in this world. So we live in a what I call the drama triangle. We live in this very limiting, false. We're almost enslaved to the world. Everything is everything is a problem because the universe is out to get me. We've all felt that way. We do it sometimes when we get we get a bill from the IRS or something. I'm like, oh, everybody's out to get me. So that's the first part. Now let's get to some good stuff. Courage. The courage to face our fears. The courage to face our shadows. Those things we hide, repress, and deny. The courage to face the things we're most afraid of finding out about ourselves, largely. Because what we're going to find out is we've been holding on to these falsehoods of not being good enough, being unworthy, all these kind of negative thoughts we have about ourselves. We think that they might be true. But if we have the courage to face them, look at what happens. Look at what happens. We move from an enslaved position in the world to a positive. We begin this world is actually pretty good, isn't it? And we begin to feel empowered. We have a deeper inner sense of power and security, that we have everything we need. We're empowered with a sense of abundance and prosperity and creativity. We have the power to create. We have the power to solve a problem. And look at our joy level. It goes to 60%. It's a lot more fun to live in this world of empowerment. And we have 10,000 more watts of power. Powerful, isn't it? Amazing. What's next? Reason. We begin to actually begin to have reason. The human mind actually begins to think, maybe just because I can't see it, just because I can't see radio waves doesn't mean I can't hear the transistor radio. So the human mind in this level of love and truth begins to operate on a whole different level. It's beginning because it's operating now from a place of something's opened up. We're no longer blocked by fear and something. Our bigger mind, our mind's open to the bigger mind, the infinite intelligence of the world. And we go from 10,000 to 50,000 watts of power, and we got 77%. So when you feel good and you enjoy, you're not in fear, then your heart opens. We're more accepting. We're more able to integrate the world and see things from a different perspective that's more loving, more caring. And we also begin to realize that there really isn't a problem. What we thought was a problem was not a problem. Let's just take something practical. Like you're a business owner and you got to make payroll this week and it's $10,000 and you don't have $10,000. You can do two things. You can sit and worry, and you can ask God for $10,000, and you can pray for $10,000, which people do, or you can surrender it and say, God, I don't know how I got to make payroll. I don't know how to do this. This is bigger than me, because what I normally do is not working, and I got to make payroll because I have a commitment to my employees. So what we do is we have the courage to admit we don't know, and we surrender it, and we say, God, I don't know how to pay my people. I need your help. That's the way we pray, by the way. That's praying from the heart. Why? Because that's the goal. That's praying from, wow, I need to pay my people because I love them and they've been doing such a great job. They're my first priority, and I don't know how. I need some help. That's the way we pray, by the way. We surrender and just admit, I don't know how to do this. I have no idea how to fix this. Maybe we're blaming blaming somebody who didn't make all their sales quotas. That's going to get us nowhere. Well, if Mary had just made all of her sales quotas this month, I wouldn't have this problem. So I'll blame it on her. Well, she's not really the one that caused the problem. I caused the problem. At some level. I'm not going to go too down that road, but the reality is the first step to solving any problem is to take our role in it. So somehow I had a role as the owner of the company. I had a role in the fact I have a role in this fact that we don't have the $10,000 I need to pay the payroll this week. So when I accept that fully, and then also accept I don't know the solution, because the level of thinking that created the problem is down here. So I'm going to have the courage to say, I don't know how to fix this. I don't know how to do it. I'm responsible for it. And you notice how everything changed? And I cared too much, but maybe I need some help. Whatever you call it, God, divine, mother, creative mother, mother divine, Joy the wise woman. I do it all the time. I don't know how to do this. I need some help, Joy the wise woman. And she always helps. She always helps when I pray from the heart. Always. Without fail. Now let's get to the real good stuff. You ready? Just look what happens when we begin to accept everything exactly as it is. We don't complain about the way the world, we don't know what COVID's doing for us. We know people are dying. It hurts like hell. But I can't do anything about it. Acceptance is a way of giving up control. It's that final step, like, God, I don't know why it's all happening, but I just have to accept there's a bigger picture going on here. I know one thing, creativity is done out of chaos, and the human mind cannot stand chaos. So what feels like chaos is actually creativity. So while this may all feel chaotic right now with the COVID and all this, but look how much we've changed. Look how much we've all changed. We are not the same people we were a year ago. We are not the same fearful people we were, particularly if you've been coming on here with me. I can tell you right now, I know I talked to you. We are not the same fear-driven people we were a year ago. We have slowed down. We love ourselves. We love each other. And we're looking at, we have become much clearer about who we are and what matters in our lives, haven't we? Yeah. Because we begin to accept everything as, including ourselves. I don't need to do any self-improvement. I just accept myself the way I am. And you're the same. Acceptance. Acceptance moves us up into the spiritual realm. Because we're accepting things that don't make sense at the physical realm and the middle realm. Okay? We don't understand things like empathy. We feel it, but that's in the spiritual realm, and compassion, stuff like that. So that moves us up to that higher level into the world of acceptance. Okay? And we get to a joy of 85%. When I quit blaming the world and I just accept the world the way it is and accept myself and open up my heart to the world as it is without any judgment, I'm feeling joy. I'm feeling excitement. You are too. I know, because we talk about it all the time here on our show. It's a sense of fulfilling and understanding that the universe cares about me and cares about you. You know, and we care about each other. When we're operating up here, it's very clear that we love and care for each other. That's why we do this. We love and care for each other, and we want each other to have wonderful lives. The next one is wisdom. And wisdom is different than knowledge. We're talking about here. We're talking about spiritual wisdom. Being able to understand things that from intuition. Make decisions from intuition. You know, some people use the word intuition as who might consider themselves atheists. So it's my intuition. Wonderful, it's the same thing. It's that inner wisdom of truth. You just know deep in your gut, this is the right, it feels right from your heart. This last week, I just paid a lot of money, more than I've ever paid for a coaching program. And it just felt right. There was an inner wisdom. It just felt, let go of the money, Martin, and just spend it and just trust. And the exchange was one of expression of love and joy and abundance. And it was kind of like that last little straw I had to do to like finally let go of my attachment to money, my emotional attachment to money, knowing that there's a bigger truth out there that's going to help me out here. It's going to support me. I don't know. I don't know where the money's going to come from next month, but I'm pretty sure if I practice these principles, it will be there. It will be there. Let's get this on a little further here. And then finally, and this is the one that most of us can get to in our lifetime with a little practice, and that's just love. It's a place of perfection. It's a realization that we're perfect in what we are. We're perfect in our imperfection. We're perfect in all those flaws that our ego tells us we're not good enough. We say, no, that's not true. I am a perfectly whole person. I am love. You are love. And I'm capable of love, giving and receiving love freely. And when we can turn money transactions, financial transactions into this realm, everything changes. Then we begin to have money flowing more freely in and out of our lives to serve the planet. Because it's all part of a greater creative process. We need money as an exchange for value. So in order to create wealth, we need to exchange value. We need to let money flow freely in and out of our lives. Like in my example, I had to like freely write that check. And I did it with joy and excitement. And I knew because I was doing it with joy and excitement that I was going to get the return on my investment 10 times from this proof. We'll see. We'll see how it all comes out. I don't know. But I can do it now. I'm having a great time building my practice with the support of the people that I paid this coaching group from. I'm not saying, oh God, I hope I get my money's worth. I already got my money's worth because I had this personal transformation from a scarcity to abundance that I have never had before. And so I did that. And then finally, unconditional love. Now, unconditional love is the divine. And very few human beings reach this level of consciousness and be human. Few, Buddha, Jesus are the name two we're most familiar with. There are others, who teachers and prophets who teach enlightenment. But the most common that we both know are Buddha and Jesus. They were both teachers of this higher level of consciousness because that's where they come from. That's their view of the world. And they're still teaching us long past the death of the human body. We're still learning from their wisdom. So that is joy level power. That's the science. And all this, if you want to go in and dig into the details of it, you can very easily go into, go get David Hawkins' book, Power versus Force, and read all about how this was all scientifically proven and all the tests he did and all the research he did over his lifetime. So hope that was helpful for all you doubters out there. And now, let's meditate. Anybody got any questions? Want to ask me any questions in the chat? And again, if you're watching the replay, put the questions in, put comments in. I'll be happy to answer them later. I go back and look at these all the time, and this is what I do. And I really want to help you get this grounded inside you and begin to practice it. as a powerful tool. 'Cause I don't know. I'm gonna tell you something too. All the successful people, all the big influencers, Tony Robbins, Oprah Winfrey, to name two of the biggest, they've all got a contemplative practice for just this reason. This is what gives them the power. This is what empowers them. And that's what they're doing. They're sharing the same message, by the way. They package it a little differently than I do, the way you're going to. But if you want to see prayer in action, look at those two examples of billionaires. Wealthy influencers on the world. And Oprah will tell you in a heartbeat, she's got a contemplative prayer practice that she is tapped into years ago. I mean, I love telling the story. She and I are the same age and both grew up in the rural South. She was a poor black girl and I was a white boy from a pretty privileged family. And she's made a lot more money than I have. She's been a lot more successful than I have practicing these principles. So it works. It works. I promise you it works. So let's meditate. Let's actually practice it. Let me turn off this crazy phone of mine. It's driving me crazy. And let me go over to the timer for today. And we're going to meditate for 20 minutes with 4 interval bells. And the interval bells are there to help us kind of wake up, because when times we meditate, we can either fall asleep or we get caught up in some wonderful thought or some story or some planning or some idea, and we're just going down this rabbit hole. So the bell, the interval, I call it that sweet bell, wake us up. It's to wake us up from our thinking. And we just let it go with a smile. Thank you, brain, for doing your thing, for thinking, and just fall back into love. Literally just energetically just let go of the thinking and fall back. On this thing here, it's like what we're doing here, just to get, so we are letting go of all of this to empty ourselves for this. Letting go of this, the world that thinks it knows everything and doesn't know anything, to a world that does know, but knows it as a level of which this lower level does not understand. Okay, let's get started. So you can raise your arms up in the air. I know, Audrey, I know you like raising your hands up in the air. Just raise your hands up in the air. And there's that bell. We do that just to kind of wake us up. Sit up tall in your chair like a proud human being that you are. Open up your chest, open up your stomach. When we're in love, we expand. When we're in fear, we contract. So just consciously that's why you raise your hand, expand yourself, expand your range of physical space right now. And expand your heart, expand the space in your belly, and begin to breathe, and let that breath just bring in and expand more. You don't just breathe hard, just take a nice, deep, long breath and just bring it deep into your belly and just anchor it down there, and then just let it go. Softly. Feel the space you've just opened up. Take a nice few breaths and just breathe into that space. And as you do, quiet the mind. Allow the vibration of the bell to take you a little deeper inside. And just calm down. Soften the brain. One little technique that I like to teach people to do is to take the tip of your tongue and rest it on the top of your mouth, just behind your front teeth, and slightly part your lips. And then just relax it there. And relax your tongue. Relax your jaw, relax your tongue. And allow the breath to come in and just kind of gently massage and create space around you. Create some space inside of you. Taking another nice deep breath deep into the belly, opening up your heart, opening up the heart space, expanding the belly, going deeper within. That beauty, that silence of still breath. Allow it to anchor deep into your belly. Feel your way deeper inside with your breath. And then let everything else go. And just begin to notice all you need to do is just show up with love and gratitude for life, acceptance, love and acceptance for you exactly as you are without any need to change anything. And just fall back into that perfectly loving and accepting self that you are. And allow yourself to get still. Let go of every thought, opinion, belief you have about me, about yourself, about this world. Let it go, everything. Hold on to nothing. And when they come up, and they will, you just smile and let it go. There is the sweet sound of that wake-up bell to wake us up from our thinking. So wake up from your thinking and just let it go. Just let it go and energetically fall back into the loving arms of unconditional love, the essence of yourself. There's that sweet bell. Wake us up from our thinking, our planning, our plotting. Just say thank you and let them go. Hold on to nothing and fall back into that sweet space of, I don't know. I don't know how to fix this. One more wake-up bell. And one more sweet, I think this last 3 minutes, really let go and really fall back into love and really enjoy. Dance in the emptiness, dance in the joy, dance in the love. Okay, there's our final bell. Oh my God, I feel so much better. I just feel so full of love and joy right now that I'm looking forward to my afternoon. I've got some fun projects to work on, and I'm excited about that. I want to just say I want to make an invitation to all of my gay, transgender, and bisexual brothers, particularly any of you that have an entrepreneurial spirit. Maybe you're not yet an entrepreneur, but you have this deep calling. Maybe you are. Or you have this deep entrepreneurial spirit that wants to get out and do something big. So I've created this Facebook group to do teaching and workshops for free, by the way, for all of us gay, bisexual, and transgender men who want to get unstuck, who have an urgent need to get out of being mediocre and living in not quite good enough or not better than, living in the shadows, to being big and living vibrantly and fully in creativity, so we can have magnificent lives for ourselves and our loved ones. And it's particularly geared to around our money shadows. If you don't know what money shadows is, come over and find out, because that's what we're going to be talking about. Those things we hide, repress, and deny that keep us small, keep us little. Because we don't have, the world is waiting on us. If you've got some kind of calling that needs to be let out of the box and you want to get out there and start making a difference in the world and you don't know what's holding you back, come over and join the Financial Heart Space for gay, transgender, and bisexual men. I'm excited because I'm going to be doing a workshop every Wednesday, and the first one's going to be this Wednesday, and it's going to be about 3 tools you can use to turn money into an expression of love. 3 things you can do immediately to shift your mindset around money from scarcity to abundance that you can put together right that minute. Simple, easy things that you can do. So if you haven't already, come over and join our website, our Facebook group, the Financial Mystics, not the Financial Mystics, that's an old one, the Financial Heart Space for gay, transgender, and bisexual men. We can look at our specific shadows, our specific things that are keeping us from being big and bold and showing up and creating lives way beyond, being happy, bringing joy, we bring so much joy in the world already. Why not bring joy in the world and make money doing it? That's what an entrepreneur is. An entrepreneur is a person that comes into the world, knows they've got great gifts, a great calling, and they want to bring them into the world. They want to make money doing it. That's what an entrepreneur is. They got happy just sitting around doing something for somebody else. They want to be themselves. They want to bring their authenticity. I call it our queer nature into the world, to be more authentic and be more bold. Bring that creative spirit. So that's you. Come join us. In the meanwhile, and Audrey, you are such a joy. Thank you so much for joining me today. Always great to have you here on the show with me and keep me company on this Monday afternoon. I think it's a holiday, President's Day, I believe. Well, we learned a lot about presidents, haven't we, recently? So anyway, in the meanwhile, may love and prosperity prevail.